What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at the Reolink Duo 2, which is a battery-powered panoramic security camera. Taking a look at the specs, this has dual 2K 6 megapixel lenses, a 180 degrees panoramic view, smart person and vehicle detection, two-way audio, and a built-in spotlight with a total of 8 LEDs. So look inside the box, you have your manual and quick start guide, some installation hardware, and a screwdriver. You have your two antennas which attach onto the camera, your mounting bracket for the camera, you have this strap in case you want to tie the camera onto a tree or a pole, and then last but not least you have the actual camera itself. So taking a look at the camera itself, it kind of looks like a little robot. It's a pretty big camera, but when you consider it has two cameras, a battery, and two spotlights facing different directions, the size is kind of inevitable. So taking a look at the front, you have your two cameras which face in opposite directions, but in the app, these don't show up as two cameras, but instead as one panoramic video that's stitched together. Around that, you have your IR and LED lights. I have a few Reolink cameras that are bright but only have one or two LEDs. This one has a total of 8, so I'm hoping this is going to be a whole lot brighter. In the center, you have your daylight sensor and microphone, and then below that, you have your PIR motion sensor. Coming to the sides, you have two large antennas. This should have very good Wi-Fi reception as well. Right in back of the motion sensor, you have this little cover here that's held down with the screw. And inside of that, you have your SD card slot, your on and off switch, and then lastly, your reset button. All right, so getting this camera mounted is pretty easy. They include this metal bracket here. Then you also have this template. So first off, figure out where you want this camera, position it somewhere on the wall, figure out where you're gonna get the best angle and view. Once you find that, you simply put this template up to the wall, drill your holes in these 3 spots. After that, you simply put this on that same spot. You'll see it has this little ridge here, and that's because this mount simply slides in and holds on to that. Then you'll put one screw which secures this mount to the wall. So coming back to the camera, you have 2 different mounting holes, one on top and one at the bottom. So if you were going to mount this on the wall like this, that's when you'll use the bottom one. But if you were going to mount this under something, that's when you'll go ahead and attach it to the top. So whatever works better for you, they make it very easy to do that. This is a wireless battery powered camera, so once it's mounted on the wall, you are then ready to start using the camera. If you get this camera, I highly recommend getting the solar panel as well. Typically, you have to go up and charge the camera a few times a year, but with the solar panel, it's a whole lot easier as now it'll charge all on its own. This is now my 5th Reolink camera, and in my experience, these solar panels definitely work very well to keep the cameras charged. Alright, so taking a look at some test footage, you can see the camera really does capture a much wider area compared to a regular camera. The video stitching also looks very good as well, and unless you're really looking for it, it's really not all that noticeable. When it comes to the picture, I'm definitely happy with the video quality from this camera. Everything looks nice and sharp, and the colors also look great. It not only looks good during the day, but most importantly, it also gives you a good picture at night as well. As you can see, it's a nice image using only the IR lights, but once the spotlights come on, it lights up the area very well and then gives you a nice and clear color video. Taking a look at the built-in lights, these are hands down the best I have used on any camera so far. This has a total of 8 LEDs with 4 facing in each direction, and these definitely light up my yard very, very well. Typically, built-in lights can be hit or miss, but these work so well that they'll definitely remove the need to have any motion lighting in the area where the camera is at. Alright, so taking a look at the app, this is what you'll see here. Before I dive into the main screen and all the functions, to add the camera in the app, you simply come here to the plus sign. And once you click that, you'll scan the QR code in the back of the camera. And then after that, you simply enter your Wi-Fi information, name the camera, and then it'll easily get added to the app here. Very, very simple. As you can see, I have a few cameras from Reolink already. So right now, this is the Duo 2. This is the Reolink doorbell. I have the Argus 3 Pro. And then this one is, I think, the Track Mix 360, I think it's called. It's a 360-degree rotating camera. So because The video feed on the Duo 2 is much wider with the panoramic view. This is how the sample comes out, so it can show you the whole entire view. But once you click on that, it's also still small. But if you want to get a full view, that's when you zoom in on it, and then you'll get to see the whole entire feed there. Alternatively, you can also click this button here. That'll flip it over, and that's much easier to see everything going on. So taking a look at the camera functions in the app, over here you got your play and pause for the feed. Here you have the sound, so you can hear what's going on outside. As you can hear, it picks up sound very, very well. Here you have to take a picture to record a video of what's going on. Here you have the quality, so depending on your Wi-Fi, you might want to use Fluent or Clear. This thing has pretty good antennas, even though I have this kind of like in the middle of my yard, which is a good distance away from my router. It actually picks up very, very well. I wasn't sure if it was going to be able to pick up that far from my house. Usually in that area, it's very, very spotty Wi-Fi, but thanks to those antennas, it definitely works very well. So I am able to use it on clear mode, but if you're having some problems, you might want to switch it over to Fluent. Coming to the bottom, you have talk, so you can go ahead and talk to someone on the camera if someone's in your yard. And then over here, you have all your events, which are very, very easy to use for me. Like I said before, I have a ton of Reolink cameras. I've been using these for a few years now. And this is overall definitely very easy to use. If you see something you want to see, you just click on it, and it'll start playing it right up here. Alright, so let me just show you an example of the spotlight as well. You can see right now it's pitch dark, but if I come up here, click that, lights up the area very, very well. You can see the color on the garage. You can see some of the driveway. Lights up all of the plants. This is kind of blocking a lot of the light. This is like a gazebo umbrella, but you can see right here. Switches over to a nice color feed. Like I said earlier, definitely a very bright spotlight. Go ahead and switch that off. And then if you come on top, you can also view all your cameras all at once as well. Coming into the settings, there's not much settings in this camera compared to other Reolink cameras I have, but that's okay. So you have your display settings. Here you can adjust how your display looks on your phone. You got brightness. You can change the camera name. You could turn off the watermark. There's this privacy mask. So say if you don't want this showing in your video, you can just go ahead and make a square there. And now when anybody looks at your feed of your camera, that'll be blacked out so it doesn't get recorded. So pretty cool to have that in case there's something in your shot you don't want in every single video. You have audio settings where you can control the volume on the speaker of the camera. You got your LED light settings. You have your PIR motion sensor settings. Definitely play with these a little bit, because with every camera I first get, there's always a certain setting. If I have it too low, I'll get a bunch of false alarms from passing cars or people walking by in the distance or something, whatever random thing it might be. But playing with this and messing around with this definitely gets it working very well. You just got to fine tune it to get it working properly. You got detection zones, and what's cool is you have a different setting for every single thing. So you have one for person, vehicle, pet, and others. So you go ahead and click on that, and you could block it out. That, say over here, this is my driveway, where my garage is at, and maybe I don't want it to get triggered by the car coming in and out. So in this case, I could just go over to vehicle and then paint, and then just cross that out. And now every single time, the camera will automatically ignore that spot, not only get triggers over here in the yard. So definitely very handy if you have an area you don't want triggering your camera as well. Coming at the bottom here, you have object size. So a few people have problems with sometimes false triggers, like it might detect something that you have in your yard as a person or something. So that's when you can say person, and the minimum size would be this big. There's no way a person is going to be any smaller than that on my camera. So that's when you can go ahead and set that. And then you have that setting for vehicles and pets. Then beside that, you have push notifications, email alerts, siren, share camera, which shows the QR code so you can give it to somebody else in your family. You can make a time lapse if you want to. So this will record a certain amount of time to make a cool little video. Not really useful for security, but cool little extra bonus feature, I guess. And then coming down to advanced is just your date, time, and password. So that about covers everything in the app. Overall, very, very simple to use. So I've been using Reolink cameras for a few years now, and once you get them configured, they not only work great, but are very reliable as well. Just like the rest of them I have, this is definitely a solid and very well made camera. So overall, if you happen to be in the market for security cameras, this one here from Reolink is definitely a great option to consider. Alright, well that about wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.